Thank you for attending the 2023 annual meeting of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. I'm Sanford Cohen from Arizona's Hometown Radio Group, past chair of the Prescott Chamber, currently serving as vice chair of the Prescott Chamber Foundation Board. Before we start with our Pledge of Allegiance, we'd like to take a moment of silence to observe the passing of our dear colleague, former council member Billy Orr. Please take a moment. Thank you. And now let's start our morning with our Pledge of Allegiance, if you would, to our beautiful flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I would like to invite any military veterans that are in the audience to please stand and be recognized for your service. And it is also my duty and honor to recognize the dignitaries and special guests who have joined us today. It's a lengthy list. I'm not going to ask that you hold your applause. You may spontaneously applause as much as you like. First of all, representing the city of Prescott, Mayor Phil Good. Mayor Pro Tem Brandon Montoya. In abstention. City Council Member Kathy Roosing. City Council Member Steve Sischka. City Council Member Clark Tenney. City Council Member Eric Moore. And City Council Member Connie Cantelme. Also would like to recognize amongst us the Director of the Yavapai Regional Medical Center, Dignity Health, Dr. Anthony Torres. Any PUSD board members that are in the audience, and also PUSD Foundation Director Paul Kirchgraber. You got to stand for something, Paul. All right, and Boys and Girls Club of Central Arizona, Executive Director Alex Heineman. And then there are the sponsors. A fine bunch of sponsors they are. We'll start out with the lead sponsors, and they are Findlay Automotive Group, Dignity Health, Yavapai Regional Medical Center, Freeport McMoran, the City of Prescott, APS, AZTV.com, Channel 7, Desert Financial Credit Union, Yavapai Gaming Agency, Buc-ee's, and Yavapai Casinos. Then there are the premier sponsors, Pepsi, Lifeline Ambulance, Prescott Regulators and their Shady Ladies, The Daily Courier, Residence Inn by Marriott, Spring Hill Suites, and Ponderosa Hotel Management, Rox Media, Haley Construction, 1AZ Credit Union, and new for 2023, Thane's Signature Group and Talking Glass Media, LLC. Oh, I forgot one more premier sponsor, Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. Then there are the gold sponsors, Yavapai Title Agency, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, Pure Wafer, Lamb Chevrolet, Foothills Bank, and new for 2023, the Center. Now the silver sponsors, Fan Contracting, AARP Arizona, Renewal by Anderson, Goods from the Garden, and new for 2023, Accent Care. Then there are the bronze sponsors. This is more like a disclaimer as an encouragement for the bronze sponsors to step up to a higher level. Affinity RV, American Pacific Mortgage, Touchmark at the Ranch, the Dells Prescott, Prescott Outpatient Surgical Center, and Better Business Bureau, Yavapai Campus, ADA Hotel Signs, and Drake Cement. Thank you very much. Then the media sponsors. Action Pages, AZTV.com Channel 7, Prescott Woman Magazine, Quad Cities Business News, Rocks Media Group, Talking Glass Media LLC, The Daily Courier, Valpak, and Arizona's Hometown Radio Group. So we have a few thank yous. First of all, Raven Productions and the Federal for hosting today's event. I'd like to welcome up to the stage one of the members of the management company that operates the Federal. Newt is welcomed to the stage to say a few words about this new facility.
It's exciting to see this room filled with this many people this evening. Or this morning. I'm sorry, I flew in late last night from Louisiana, so I'm still catching up. This has been a huge project, one that Ty Fitzmaurice and myself took on 3 or 4 years ago with just, a lot of excitement about what we could do to preserve this building and keep it available to the public. And so, we invite everybody to just take the opportunity to kind of soak it in, enjoy it, and feel free to come up to any of us or ask anybody on the staff about anything that you see or any questions you have. And we look forward to being able to engage with all y'all going forward. Thanks so much.
When you get back to Louisiana, say hi to Doug Kershaw for me, will you? We also want to say thanks to Talking Glass Media LLC for providing the video for the annual meeting, and a person who needs no thanks, but we're going to give it to him anyway because he has such a fragile ego, Bob Shanks. Thank you for the photography, Bob. And now I'd like to invite Mackenzie Rogers, our 2022 board chair, to come up for an update.
Okay, I'm Mackenzie Rogers. I'm the Northern Arizona Division Director for your APS and the outgoing board chair, but we'll get to that here in a bit. So it's been a very busy year for the Prescott Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to thank you, the members, our board of directors, ambassadors, staff, and volunteers that made 2022 a really great year. It's my pleasure to thank the Chamber's own ambassadors. So ambassadors, would you please stand and be recognized? I'd also like to thank and recognize all the Prescott area young professionals, if you would stand and be recognized as well. And certainly not least, the Chamber staff for putting on all the wonderful events. So Sherry Heine, our fearless leader. Robert Coombs, was he running around? There he is. Stephanie Miller. Crystal, it's just downstairs. And Glacia. They have worked tirelessly this year, so give them a thanks on your way out. I'd also like to introduce the 2023 Board of Directors and Prescott Chamber Foundation members. Please stand when your name is called. The new chair, Simon Charter, Freeport McMoran. Chair-elect, Jillian Haley, Haley Construction. Past chair, Secretary Megan Smith, Prescott Newspapers. Treasurer Clint Ewell, Yavapai College. At-large Margot Christensen, Ponderosa Hotel Management Services. And also at-large Jamal McCoy, Finlay Automotive. I don't see him. Our other board members, and we've got a lot of new ones, which is wonderful. Anthony Torres, the Yavapai Regional Medical Center. Clark Tenney, Prescott Unified School District. Don Lukes, Foothills Bank. DJ Sheridan with the Sheridan Property Group. Greg Raskin with Raskin's Jewelers. Ron Fain with the Fain Signature Group. And Suzanne Springer with Prescott True Value. And then our Prescott Chamber Foundation board members, Darla DeVille, Chair, APS. Past Chair Mike Fan, Fan Contracting. Vice Chair Sanford Cohen. Treasurer Suzanne Springer. At-large Joe Howard. And at-large Lenora Nelson with Bennett Oil. So this is our annual meeting to accept the slate. So can I get a motion to accept the 2023 Prescott Board of Directors Foundation, Board of Directors and Foundation Board as presented? A second? Second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passes. Okay, all great businesses have a clear vision and mission that's aligned to what they care about. And your Chamber of Commerce is a great business. So in 2022, the board continued to work on the vision, mission, and core values and strategic focus of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. The vision of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce is to be the premier advocate for businesses, economic development, and tourism in Prescott. The mission of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce is to provide leadership and resources to create a vibrant business environment for Prescott. The Prescott Chamber of Commerce core values are honesty, loyalty, integrity, and trust, collaborative, accountable, inclusive, and welcoming, innovative, and excellent service. The Prescott Chamber of Commerce is committed to the following strategic areas over the next 3 years. As a catalyst for business growth, a convener for leaders and influencers, and a champion for a stronger Prescott, we focus on 4 key dimensions, including purpose, stakeholders, leadership, and culture. We identify with 8 influence and action plans to achieve our goals. The nature of belonging and gathering, communication and technology, scarcity and abundance, resource alignment, global impacts, population shift, political and social fragmentation, and leadership, in no specific order. Aligning to all these things demonstrated by our top accomplishments for 2022. Between the Prescott Chamber and the Prescott Chamber Foundation, we have won over $300,000 in grants. We worked with stakeholders to create strong partnerships such as Arizona's Christmas City with over $52 million economic impact. We continued to provide quality programming to support business needs. Also, owning a historical building is an important role that we play, and we finalized phase 3 of maintaining the building, which included replacing our HVAC and roof repair, along with replacing the upstairs windows, which were growing mushrooms. We will start a capital campaign to raise $60,000 to pay off the loan for the upgrades and repairs needed, and we really want to thank Haley Construction for overseeing the work and maintaining our historical building. We continue to offer the Prescott Gift Certificate Program, which keeps local dollars in our community. So please see the chamber table in the foyer for more information. And if you were walking around, I think Desert Financial was passing out gift certificates at Arizona's Christmas City. They were coming up to people. It was super sweet. Okay, so some other stats for the chamber. Overall membership, 989 members. That makes us the largest chamber in northern Arizona. Sherry said I can't say that because she doesn't want to toot her own horn, but I'm going to toot it for her. We had 127 new members in 2022, so business is back. And we have 154 members that have been members over 10 years. 163 that are in that 20 to 49 sweet years, and then 9 members over 50 years. Our wonderful visitor information center, we've fielded over 15,000 phone calls, over 25,000 walk-ins, over 1,000 walking tours, over 600 relocation and visitor packets, and over 400,000 chamber website and page visits, and over 8,000 social media followers. That's the update for 2022, and we have a few other announcements for today. We've partnered with Rox Media to produce our 2023 Community and Business Directory, which has been mailed out to the full membership list last month, so you should have received that. And we're also happy to announce the 42nd annual Bluegrass Festival. Here are the dates, June 24th and 25th, sponsored by Lamb Chevrolet. And new sponsorships are also available for this, so please see Sherry for details. As a nonprofit organization, we're funded by membership dues and sponsorship, and we're accepting sponsorships for 2023. So please see Sherry or Stephanie for details if you'd like to support the chamber more. Get your name out there. So on the behalf of the Prescott Chamber, that concludes our annual update. And we want to thank everyone for a very successful 2022. And thank you all for letting me lead you this year. And now it's time for me to hand the gavel over to Simon Charter with Freeport-McMoRan as the 2023 Prescott Chamber Board Chair. All yours.
Thank you, Mackenzie. See what I did there? Just in case anyone doesn't recognize the bald guy with the beard and the funny accent, I wore the same shirt. My name is Simon Charter. I'm the social performance manager out in Baghdad's operations. It's about an hour and a half out of here, but we see ourselves as a part of this community. We work pretty hard to engage with the community, be a part of everything that's wonderful in Prescott. So it's great to be here. My first order of business is to recognize our outgoing chair and board member who is leaving us. She's timing out. So I'll start with Mackenzie. Mackenzie, it's been a really great year. It's been awesome working with you. On behalf of the board, membership, and staff, we'd really like to thank you for your leadership over the last year. Thank you. Next up, we would also like to thank and recognize Danielle Rickert for serving on the board of directors and as the outgoing chair from 2021. Thank you. All right. The aim of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce for 2022 was power through partnerships. Focusing on key partnerships and leveraging the new innovations learned during the pandemic allowed us to come back even better by coming back together. We have set the foundation over the last year by building several key relationships that benefits our members as well as the community in general. Additional membership and community support has been achieved through an incredible success rate in achieving grants over the last year. Mackenzie mentioned that $300,000, and that was, I mean, that's phenomenal. In addition to the direct financial benefits to the community of receiving grants like that, I mean, just knowing that they're being awarded to an organization that is focusing on what they're focusing on just shows how well aligned the Prescott Chamber of Commerce is with the developmental goals of the city, the county, the state, the country. I mean, everyone's working towards this same thing, and Prescott and the Prescott Chamber of Commerce is a part of that. We know that there are significant challenges being faced by our membership businesses, whether that's supply chain, we're all suffering with Haley. Workforce challenges, administrative hurdles, and a host of other challenges that we're all facing. But as we move into 2023, we see our primary goal as engaging with our members and working to identify ways to improve the resilience in our communities. We plan to reach out and find ways to support our business community and really double down on what we really do as a chamber, and that's help build business resiliency in our community. As the 2023 chair of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce and a member of the business community facing all the same challenges that I'm sure you guys are, I'll be really working to share knowledge, align efforts, and support our chamber staff as much as I can to improve the economic stability in our community.
And with that, the State of the City Address. Phil Good was born and raised in Sacramento, California. After graduation from high school, he enlisted in the U.S. Army in May of 1970 and served a full combat tour with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam. He received the Bronze Star Medal, Air Medal for over 50 combat assaults, the Combat Infantry Badge, Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm, Vietnam Campaign Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, and several others. After leaving active duty and serving 5 additional years of reserve duty with the Army, he earned a bachelor's degree in biological sciences from California State University, graduating magna cum laude. He had a 35-year career in the healthcare industry, reaching vice president positions with Medline Industries and CareView Communications, and also held management positions with Medevac Industries, Kinetic Concepts, and Applied Medical. Phil is a 31-year member of the American Legion Post 6 here in Prescott, and a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 541, serving in leadership positions in both. He was the co-chairman of the Veterans Memorial Plaque Committee, which in June of 2016 rededicated a bronze memorial on the Yavapai County Courthouse grounds to the fallen Yavapai County veterans that lost their lives serving the United States in all of the nation's wars since World War I. He was elected to the board of directors of the Central Yavapai Hospital District in 2016, protecting the taxpayers' assets for Yavapai Regional Medical Center and its ancillary facilities. He served as a commissioner on the City of Prescott's Planning and Zoning Commission and was the co-chairman of then-Mayor Oberg's ad hoc committee on sober living rehab homes. Phil serves on the board of directors of the Yavapai Republican Men's Forum and was a past vice chair of the Yavapai County Republican Committee. He is also a member of the Citizens Tax Committee, which is the taxpayers' watchdog in Yavapai County, where he served as the chairman of the Public Policy Committee for several years. Phil is a member of Prescott's Sunup Rotary Club, a big supporter of improving education. He served on the Yavapai County Teacher of the Year panel and is a member of the Prescott Basis School Advisory Council. Very interested in water resource management, he's a member of the Public Policy Committee for the Citizens Water Advisory Group. Now the important part. An avid golfer, Phil was the champion of the 1996 Ralph's Senior PGA Pro-Am Classic Tournament, and he also appeared on the TV game show Jeopardy! And was a 4-time champion on the TV game show Tic-Tac-Doe in the 80s. Phil is married to his wife Toby and has 4 adult children. Please welcome the mayor of the city of Prescott, Phil Good.
Isn't this a great room? I first had a chance to see this during Anchor Night, and it was packed with people enjoying the One Road South band here. And of course, we had a little AV glitches, but we were able to sustain that. And I was just remarking the fact that even when I was in elementary school 60 years ago, we always needed an AV guy. So there's a technology position you think would go away, but we still need them today. So today's State of the City, I'm going to talk about some of our rearrangements on the City Council, a little bit about our boards, commissions, and committees, some of the ad hoc committees that I formed to review and upgrade our water policy, charter amendments, the general plan committee, where we are now as a city, where we're going, and then a little closing comments. So I do want to welcome Connie Cantelmi, sitting here. She was appointed to the open seat that was occupied very briefly by Erica Hall. So she was appointed until the next election, which is, Jessica Hall. It was a very short period of time she was on the council. So her short-term appointment will expire at the end of this year, and I understand she's going to be running for the remainder of the 2-year term. So thank you for that. And also Brandon Montoya, sitting here, is our new Mayor Pro Tem. So one of the things I decided to do is to kind of rotate that Mayor Pro Tem position annually so that we have a little broader representation and people being able to take advantage of the responsibilities of being a Mayor Pro Tem. So thank you both. Now, we currently have 28 boards, commissions, and committees on the city. That's a very large number of volunteers that are participating in city issues and monitoring and recommending policies to our city council for voting. So it's a large number, and each one of our council members will usually be a liaison to at least 4, sometimes more of those committees, so we can make sure that we have the best information available to make good decisions. I've created several ad hoc committees. So we have the, go back. We have the Water Policy Monitoring Committee, the new Charter Amendments Review Committee, the General Plan Review Committee, and then some continuing ad hoc committees, the Veterans Commission, which I've continued, the Airport Terminal Art Committee, which is still finishing up some of their processes on art within the airport terminal, and then the Facilities Optimization Property Utilization Committee, FOPU, which I know Mike Phan's been on for quite a while, and we have a number of local people that are involved in construction and real estate management that continue to give us some great advice there, especially now that we're working on redeveloping our old City Hall property. So the Water Policy Review and Monitoring Commission was put into effect after we restored a lot of the previous water policy prior to 2019, where we were able to allocate water from our position as an assured water supplier, and the only one that has that designation in the northern part of Arizona, so that we can utilize our water allocation for balanced and reasonable growth in the city. So they're monitoring this new policy that was put into effect back in April or May to make sure that it's doing what it's intended to do, and it's as efficient and well-regulated and transparent as possible. We also are going to be taking a close look at the charter. The state of Arizona has 91 cities and towns, only 19 of which have a city charter. City charter is essentially the constitution of the city, and it determines how the city is managed and operated, how the elected officials are established, and that gives us the opportunity to have our elections on odd years, not during even years where sometimes we can be overwhelmed by the state and federal election issues. So this year is an odd year, and we'll be having our city elections this year, and we're allowed to do that under the city charter. However, the city charter hasn't been reviewed since 2011. So it's almost got 12 years since it's been reviewed, and there's a number of issues that we're going to probably have on the November ballot. So each of you who live in the city can take a look at those issues and decide if you wish to amend the current city charter. In addition, the General Plan Commission has been set up because our general plan has to be updated every 10 years. So the last time that was done was 2015, and the general plan really gives us a clear direction on where the city wants to be over the next 10-year period of government and really of our economy. So it covers a very wide range of areas, and we have a number of really involved members on that Charter Review Commission. Don Michelman, who's also the head of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Deborah Thalassides, Ted Gambogi, who's on Planning and Zoning, Gary Worob, who's on our Water Policy Review Commission, Andre Carmen, James McCarver, who's on the Historic Preservation, I believe, Ralph Hess, Mary Fredrickson, Jim Huffman, Rod Moyer, and Terry Sapio. So we've got a lot of people that have been involved with the city for many, many years, and will really, I think, do a great job in reviewing this charter. So, we'll be reviewing the general plan, and it'll be on the 2015, 14 or 15? But anyway, it goes into effect in 2015 for the following 10 years. 25. Boy, I'm behind. So again, our water policy, as I mentioned, is designed to upgrade and make sure that the policy that went into effect in April of 2022 is most efficient and effective as possible. And a series of revisions probably will be brought to the City Council for their review and approval. And I think it's pretty clear when I ran for mayor that having a water policy that can be designed to support moderate and managed growth is very essential. For those of you who have been following the news, we see that Rio Verde, just outside of Scottsdale, had all of their water turned off. They have about 400 or 500 residents in that area because of Scottsdale's concern about how much water they can provide to their current residents. And I just read this morning that they're filing a lawsuit against Scottsdale for the termination of their water service. And I think most of you probably heard that Mayor Katie Hobbs released a report from the West Valley that a number of the developments over there no longer can claim a 100-year water supply. So without that assurance, new building permits are going to be terminated. So growth in the West Valley now is very questionable. And last year, when Governor Ducey was in office, he created a $1 billion water augmentation program so that we can try to find more sources for water to be brought into the state so that our future economic growth can continue. We'll go to the next one. So let's take a look at some numbers. The overall financial health of the city. We'll talk about some of the revenue that we're monitoring and also some of the expenditures. I think somebody said last year when I showed this chart, they said, geez, all those numbers they actually made some sense to me. Now you can see between 20 and 21, as the pandemic was involved, we were still able to maintain a pretty significant amount of growth. But most of that was due to this factor right here, this huge increase in online retail sales. And that was because of the Supreme Court decision on the Wayfair decision that allows cities now to collect retail sales tax on internet sales. So that really kept the vitality of the city positive, because we had some negative growth areas here, no doubt. After that went into effect, then in 2022, we still had some significant growth here, although we did see a pretty big drop-off in construction. But now this year, you can see even with those foundational numbers, we're still continuing to grow. We have a net growth of 3.25%, and every single one of our economic categories are showing positive growth. So retail sales, construction has kind of resurfaced, so that's up double digits. Rentals, restaurants and bars, online retail sales continues to be valuable. Hotels and motels are doing well, and then other businesses, which includes a kind of a catch-all category of services like advertising, printing, transportation, and amusement. So I think it's pretty clear that our economic vitality in the city continues to be positive growth in every category. So we should be all proud of that, and thank you all for the chamber members that are contributing to those numbers. Now we can break the bed tax activity down into a little more detail, because that contributes quite a bit of financial vitality to the city, and it's really based upon the collections we get from people staying in our hotels. So you can see that, you know, a similar situation happened between 20 and 21. There weren't too many people staying in the hotels because of their worries about impacts of the pandemic. In 2022, there was a huge recovery. So it was up 44% year to date in that same time frame. And in this year, we continue to see positive growth and high occupancy levels in our hotels. So I think it's pretty clear that adding additional hotel rooms has not diminished the occupancy level, and I think we will continue to see additional hotel room and hotel development. And I think with that, we'll have more tourist activity, more business meetings, and I think that will be beneficial for all of our retail and bars and restaurants and other services. Now, this area I think is particularly laudable. As you all know, Proposition 443 was approved by the voters here, At the time, we had an $86 million deficit in our public safety retirement system account, and we were only about 30% funded, and it was going in the wrong direction. But with the passage of 443 and that 0.75% sales tax that was designed to either sunset after 10 years, or once we reached the level of only $1.5 million in liability in that account, then that tax would be sunsetted. So we achieved that in half the time. So we reached that $1.5 million liability level, and we expired the tax at the end of last month. So we now have the lowest sales tax of any of the Quad Cities. Chino Valley has 10.35, Prescott Valley has 9.18, and we will now have a sales tax of only 8.35%. So that may not make a big difference when you order a cup of coffee at Starbucks, but if you're buying a new $50,000 vehicle at one of our dealerships, that's going to translate in some pretty big dollars. So I'll thank all of you for your economic activity and the ability to not only pay off part of that from local residents, but also the tourists made a big contribution to that. So give yourself a round of applause. Residential development, as I'm sure everyone who drives our main arteries will see, has continued to grow. Deepwell Ranch, which is probably the biggest area of residential growth. The Saddlewood development, which was the first development residential across from the airport, is 99% built out. So we have 297 lots in that development. Across the street, across in Willow Creek Road, Westwood has 271 developed lots, and they're 42% built out. And then South Ranch, which is also on the west side of Willow Creek Road, but in the southern part of the Deepwell Ranch development, has 359 lots, which is in the process of being built, although nothing has been occupied yet. Hidden Hills, which is farther west and just north of the Pioneer Parkway. So for those of you who have been doing 15 miles an hour as you go through that roundabout that's being constructed at Commerce Drive, just north of that will be the entrance to Hidden Hills, and 158 development units in that development. Multifamily units in the city. This Palmer Apartments will be in front of the council next Tuesday for approval. 209 rental units or lease units just between the ranch and the Gateway Mall. So I think that's very interesting. Here's a situation where I think the market is clearly starting to respond. We certainly need more rental units in the city, and because of the high demand, there are waiting lists on many of the developments, both older ones and newer ones. So 209 units, I think, is going to be valuable to help respond to that. There's an additional 144 units. The Gateway Apartments are, I think, Mike, isn't that your area? No? But where is it? Okay, so this is right in the parking lot area behind what used to be the old Sears building, and now is the Aspire Sports complex. So 144 units clearly helps to revitalize that mall. Now that we have a new owner there, who I've had a chance to meet and talk with. I think you're going to see a dramatic resurgence and recovery of the mall business environment, and being able to have, I mean, when you talk to, it's 355 units, so maybe 1.5 occupants per apartment. That's a lot of foot traffic that's going to contribute to the mall. And I think that those things are going to be very positive. Plus, they're very close to the Lee Boulevard Fire Station. So again, my concern when it comes to growth is to make sure that new developments have access to the same public safety response times as everybody else in the city. So having that close to the Lee Boulevard Fire Station lets us know that should there be a medical or other related emergency, they're going to be able to get good, positive response times. Montezuma Heights, this has been in planning for a number of years. When I was on planning and zoning as a commissioner 5-6 years ago, that was being proposed at the time. So that's on that hill right across from the Crossroads Shopping Center off of North Montezuma. And then we've got Havenly Rentals. There you go, Mike. So that's in the entrance of Granite Dells Estates. And there's 200 units there that are going to be primarily separate individual units with individual water meters. So I think that's another valuable rental development. So adding all those things up, I think you're going to see a substantial number of rental facility units that hourly workers can be able to move to. And then the last one here is the South Ranch. It's called Great Streets. So it's in the southwestern corner of the Gateway Mall, just north of Pioneer Parkway. And Great Streets is also the developer of the Mulberry Farms over in near Dewey-Humboldt, between Prescott Valley and Dewey-Humboldt. So they just broke ground over there, and I think they were nearly fully leased within a few weeks of the time that they broke ground. So I think at least for our multifamily development area that we need so badly, we're seeing the market really respond here. Commercial development, we have the new FedEx distribution facility that's open and operating now. It's just south of the, kind of a southeast of the airport, so very close to the airport property, 220,000 square feet. They've got one of 3 shifts now operating. The Aspire Sports Complex, which I mentioned before, that took over the former Sears building. For those of you who have a chance to go in and take a look at it, and anybody is able to visit and get a tour, it's really phenomenal. Pickleballs, basketball, they've got golf simulators in there. There's just all kinds of activity that is available, and it's all inside. So I know that there is another potential hotel that's being planned on that area. So this could be a great destination for business meetings, and in addition to local people taking advantage of those activities. So I mentioned the fact we have a new mall owner. So I think I'm excited that our mall is going to really be able to be restored. We have this safe complex that's proposed on the north side of the airport. This is a facility being developed by Embry-Riddle for pilot training. We have 82,000 square feet of spec manufacturing on the south side of the airport. And this is one of the first times that we've actually had pre-constructed light industrial or commercial space available for either startups or transfers before. I had talked to a number of businesses that said, boy, we'd like to relocate here to Prescott, but where's the space we can move into without having to actually build our own building? So I think this is kind of exciting, and it shows you the amount of interest in both industrial and commercial development around the airport. We currently have 28 parcels that have already been sold and another 15 in escrow. So the claim that there wasn't that much interest in operating around the airport for businesses, we certainly now see that there's a really big demand for that, and that's only going to generate more business interest in our airport and increase the vitality for airport development. Healthcare also is a pretty exciting situation now. We have YRMC's urgent care that's being constructed right there off of Lee Boulevard down the hill from Touchmark. So that's going to be an urgent care facility with quite a number of treatment rooms. So that gives more immediate access to care on that side of the city. Exceptional healthcare. They're in the process of constructing a micro hospital down Highway 69 right at Robin Drive. So I think we've seen enough serious accidents on Highway 69, and now you're going to have an emergency room that's going to be very, very close by. So this seems to be a trend nationally on some of these micro hospitals. I've been following that pretty closely. And Exceptional Healthcare, I think, has one in the Kingman area. They have one down in Maricopa. So they're providing more immediate care emergent services. We also have Arizona Oncology that broke ground just south of 89A near Larry Caldwell Drive. So that's a specialty area of cancer treatment and services. The Banner Hospital development is still in process. Of course, they bought that big parcel right across from Embry-Riddle on Willow Creek Road, and I've met with them, but to build a substantial acute care hospital these days takes a lot of money. So they just didn't happen to have a couple $100 million in their bank account. And being able to acquire capital now is a little more challenging with the increase in mortgage rates, interest rates, and supply chain problems that are continuing. So that's still on the drawing boards, but maybe several years before that happens. And then there's also a proposal to build another acute care hospital and related facilities. We'll call that YRMC North. So I know they already own the property just between the airport and Chino Valley on the east side of the highway, and we're working with them to try to see if we can get the infrastructure extended to their property so their development can proceed. Next slide. So what to look for in 2023. The new City Hall is getting finalized. I think we'll be fully moved in there by Q2. So probably, I know my office is probably going to get moved right around Valentine's Day. I'll take that as a gift. Most of our departments have already moved over, so we'll probably be fully moved in and operational by the end of Q2. We have an RFP for the old City Hall, so we're working with the chosen development group, and we're still working on a purchase contract before they can start their due diligence on testing the soil for their plans for this multi-use building that would include rentals, hotel rooms, retail, and restaurants. So that is moving forward, working on that. On the bottom, the Sundock Connector is still being considered. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Central Yavapai Metropolitan Planning Organization, and that Sundock Connector between Prescott Valley and Prescott Lakes Parkway has been kind of on the drawing boards for, close to 15 years. We're finally, after 8.5 years of planning with the Arizona Department of Transportation to get the widening of Highway 69 across from Frontier Village. So with the final approval and design, I think they're gonna actually turn some shovelfuls of dirt here in the next few months, and it'll be completed in about 1.5 years. So here's a development with ADOT. It's going to take 10 years to widen a 1-mile stretch of Highway 69. So Sundock Connector, if it's approved, and we're still looking at whether it'll be approved, how much will be approved, that's 3.5 miles. So if you extrapolate that from the 10 years it'll take to do 1 mile in Frontier Village, this might be 35 years, and there may be a couple people in this room who will still be alive to see it. Probably won't be me. The airport runway extension is moving along. We still have a pretty priority position with the FAA. So extending that runway allows not bigger planes, but the same type of aircraft to be able to be fully loaded with passengers during the high and hot summertime. Because right now, when it gets really warm up there, when you have low density of air and the temperatures, there's been numerous flights to Denver or LA where they've had to bump 10 or 20 passengers off the plane because of weight considerations. So by extending that runway, we'll be able to have more reliable air service, and also some of the small training aircraft will be able to take off earlier on the runway, gain more altitude, and have less impact to the residents of Deepwell Ranch. The airport vicinity overlay has been partially finished with the Planning and Zoning Commission because we're trying to make sure that boundaries are established so that we have protected impact zones should there be a potential aircraft crash. We want to make sure that there's always open space available for a pilot to have to make a 5-second decision on where he's going to have to let a plane down. And then we also want to make sure that the residents in that area have full understanding and disclosure of the potential aircraft noise impact that they'll be dealing with as residential homeowners. So making sure that we have good disclosure is important. Public safety, we clearly need at least probably 3 new fire stations to make sure that we get good, prompt response to all of our citizens. All I need is another $20 or $30 million, and we could do that. But we'll probably start with 1, and we have to budget for that, so it's not just the land, but the brick and mortar building, and then equipment, staffing, and everything else. So we need to make sure our public safety expands at the same expansion rate as a new residential development. So everybody has that same expectation of safe protection, and should there be an emergency, they know that they can rely on public safety to respond promptly. Our city manager has resigned his position. His last day will be February 14th. So Michael Lamar has served the city for, I think, over 6 years now, and really done a substantial job dealing with a lot of the growth, development, and other issues we've had to deal with over that period of time. So we'll be recruiting for a new permanent city manager. And in the meantime, we've appointed Deputy City Manager Tyler Goodman to manage that position while we're doing a nationwide search. We're also looking at a new Community Development Director, so that's also in the process of being worked on. The Granite Creek Corridor development, work has begun on that, so that goes all the way down to LaRue, Aubrey Street area on South Montezuma as you approach White Spar, and it'll extend all the way north into the Granite Creek area and the parkway that's around the Hilton Garden Inn. So we're looking forward to that. I think that's going to be another great attraction for tourists and residents to be able to appreciate and utilize that attractive water and shade area. The Glassford Dells Regional Park, we've been working on that in conjunction with the state land department, the state Parks and Recreation Department, and we're in partnership with Yavapai County, Prescott Valley, ourselves, to work together in an intergovernmental agreement way to be able to acquire the parcels necessary to create this regional park, which I think will be another great tourist draw. So we talked about the proposed charter amendments already. That's going to be on the November election. And I'll just conclude by saying that the city of Prescott continues to demonstrate a strong economic vitality with improving services and a quality of life that we all can be proud of. So thank you for your time, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to continue to lead the city and lead it into the future. Thank you very much.
What an update. Thank you so much, Mayor Good. I think we can all say, well, I can certainly say that we're pretty optimistic about what's coming in 2023 for our business members, for our community, for the region, even for Baghdad. We're so thankful to our members, sponsors, volunteers, ambassadors, board members and stuff, and everyone involved in getting this off the ground. But mostly I'm just so grateful to all of you for giving up your morning, coming and joining us. Thank you all so much for attending today's event. I have been asked just to let everyone know that this venue is now available for bookings. So if you're interested in it, where's Toria? She was just back there. Please reach out, it is available. With that, just remember to shop Prescott. It starts here, and have a wonderful day.